None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time, F9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good,
I'm
good
not
question,
even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Apocaflix Movies and Apocaflix Now, our movie hangout show here at Apocaflix Movies. Look who's back in the hosting chair for another time. It's me, Jacob Bartley. I'm here to host again. It's been a while. I kind of missed it, but I'm excited. And I'm excited to get back to it. I'll go ahead and introduce the crew, but we got some fun stuff to talk about. Apparently, it's an MCU show today. We're going to talk the new Loki Season 2 trailer, and we're also going to do a spoiler review for Secret Invasion, the Disney Plus show. Takes place in the MCU. But first, I'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the panel here. We got Gio in the house. What's going on, Gio?
Literally in the house. I'm in the next room right there. Yeah, I'm doing good. Just been really busy since our last show, and even that one was busy, cramming half a Barbie and Oppenheimer into a day, and then jumping on, and then the time in between it's just been, spending a lot of money, packing, getting my apartment ready to move out, and gonna fly out to Seattle tomorrow for the first time and be there for 3 months. So hopefully my audio and visuals are good, because this new device that I have is going to be what I'll be using when I'm in these hotel rooms. And I guess I should be more concerned about the hotel Wi-Fi and making sure, that, because that's the thing that matters. But all in all, it's exciting times, and just happy to be here and make some time to do this.
That's awesome, man. No, things are definitely changing, but I will say, I mean, for a new laptop, it looks pretty good. Sounds pretty good. It's not bad at all. I'm actually on a laptop as well, but I won't say what laptop I'm on. Probably shouldn't be using it for this. Brian Avalosino,
I know exactly.
How you doing, man?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm good. I am freaking tired from work, and it's only been day 2. I'm ready for the weekend.
The school year just started.
I know.
Exactly.
Not anything bad. It hasn't been bad. I'm just like going from not having to do a single thing all day to like running around like a crazy person nonstop for 8 hours. It's like, okay. Yeah. Now I remember.
Congratulations, by the way. I saw your social media with your first day at school, and you had all the Marvel characters up there. It looked dope, man.
Yeah, they moved me to a different classroom, which
again?
Yes, they do it to only me.
Hey, but not every year, like multiple times a year.
Yeah, this is like my 6th or 7th classroom. But yeah, it's a good little space. I get control of my own air conditioning, which is like,
wow, that's unheard of at a school.
I know. And it's the greatest thing in the whole entire world. I keep my room in the 60s, and it's amazing.
See, the things we get excited about as we get older, it's just like,
I was dreading the classroom because it's actually connected to Jacob's side. And do you know where I am?
No, I don't know. Where are you?
I'm in the.
You're in the room on the far right side at the end of the first hallway?
Yep.
What?
I'm that one. Yeah. So basically, my room is connected to Jacob's side of the school. like the other wall for me.
But that class shouldn't be too bad. The one next door
No.
to you.
Thank God.
It's not. It's third grade. They're pretty chill.
Yeah. So, and the teacher's super nice. So, I'm connected to a third grade classroom. It seems good so far. Room's looking good, making it how I want it to look. And
How are the kids though?
so I'm kind of in a unique situation in the sense of when I ended the school year, I had 7th grade. And then when I start the new school year, I have 8th grade. So the kids I left are the kids I'm coming back to. They just moved up a grade. So it's really just basically kind of like a long break that they're coming back from.
Okay.
So for me, it's fine because I already know all their names, all their behavior, who's all that stuff. So like I'm like coasting for the most part with like getting to know the kids. Like they're all doing all the teachers and stuff are doing their like get to know yous and stuff. And I'm just like, just don't bug me for the next hour.
Yeah, that's interesting. My school kind of does that. They'll have the 4th grade teachers will become the 5th grade teachers the next year, and then the 5th grade teachers will go down to 4th, and they keep doing that every year. So
that's
the
weird.
kids stay with the same teacher for 2 full years, which is kind of cool. Like I never heard of that before, but
Neither have I.
It makes things a lot easier because it's really hard, taking in a brand new 5th grade class. So like,
Yeah.
It makes things really easy.
Where are you in a classroom? I've yet to see you.
No, I don't really have an area. I'm wherever I can find like find a place because I actually have to do like a lot of computer work and like interviews and stuff. And like, I just have to find like a decent place to do that stuff. But I'm mainly in the office. I know, right? I should. I'm mainly in the office in the cafeteria area, just like, because that's where the after school care office is, and I primarily work with them. But I work at the same school Brian does, but on the elementary school side. And Brian, it's been a wild 2 days. It's been a crazy wild 2 days. But hey, I'm just glad to have work, so I cannot complain. I'm just glad to have work. So
you're full time with benefits now.
Hey, don't tell everyone my personal business. No, but no, it's definitely like. Yeah, I'm in a good place, so I'm like ready to like just do the best that I can. But yeah, no, we got some cool stuff to talk about today. Obviously, we're gonna talk Secret Invasion. That's the main topic today. But before that, we got something else in the MCU, and that is the trailer for Loki season 2. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things that revolve around this show. We have the King situation with Jonathan Majors, and a lot of people.
You can hear every single thing.
A lot of people know what's going on, and so I don't know if we need to talk. We don't really need to talk about Jonathan Majors that much in this discussion, but we can definitely talk about Loki season 2 and how we're anticipating the show based on this trailer. And I want to go to you first, Brian. I forget how you felt about Loki season 1. Was it up there for you? And how did you feel about this new trailer?
I mean, I really enjoyed Loki. I don't know. It wasn't like, I don't know if I loved it as much as
it had its ups and downs, I would say.
Yeah, like a lot of people regard it as like the best one or second best one, and I'm not. It's in the middle, higher middle. So, but I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like. How many have there been? Like 9?
How many what?
TV shows have we had so far?
Are you including the special presentations?
No.
Okay, so for about 7, I think 7. Could be wrong about that.
So we have Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, Loki, Moon Knight, Hulk, WandaVision, Hawkeye, and What If. So there's 8. Oh, 9
Yeah.
with Secret Invasion? Can I just not count? Who am I forgetting? Oh, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So
Oh,
9. Okay. I would put Loki, honestly, anywhere between, I'd go maybe like 3, 4, 5. No, 4 or 5. Because I definitely liked Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, and WandaVision more than Loki. So somewhere, it's literally sits right in the middle for me. So yeah.
I'm right there about with you, but yeah, we got this new trailer, man. What'd you think?
I thought it looked good. I mean, it definitely looks like the walls are starting to kind of like crumble. Things are starting to go a little haywire. I'm kind of curious what is going on. Like, clearly he's all glitchy and whatnot. So I'm kind of interested to see like how that plays into things. Because he's kind of operating in his own little pocket in the MCU. Like, he's not, like, it almost kind of feels like everyone else's like main timeline story is here and he's kind of just like under it. Like, kind of just,
well, the TVA doesn't take place in anywhere like any real space or time, right? It's something like that.
Yeah, they operate outside of space and time. But yeah. So I'm curious to see how this works, mainly.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I thought the trailer itself was well made, honestly, but I don't really have a sense of what's going on in season 2 necessarily, other than like, oh, there's this big threat, Kang, and that we kind of already met in Ant-Man and Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So I'm curious to see where that goes. But Gio, before I talk more about it, what did you think about the trailer itself for Loki season 2?
I'm very curious to see it. I don't know if I can use the word excitement when it comes to MCU anymore, because now they're starting to go down a path that has me worried as a fan of the MCU since the very beginning. I'm ready to see this multiverse finally break and give us something that's been promised since WandaVision, since Multiverse of Madness, Loki, and whatnot. It's like I feel like more could be done with the multiverse saga, and maybe I'm a little bit too early, but we've already gone through one phase and we're into another one. But as far as this series is concerned, being a bigger fan than most people of that first season, I am excited to go back into this world and revisit the adventures of Loki and Mobius, and see how Loki's relationship with Sylvie, if anything, has been impacted since she's the one who drew the knife and stuck it or the sword into He Who Remains and kind of broke this whole thing, sort of. And Jonathan Majors, look, I know we're not going to get too much into it, but
I mean, we can still talk about Kang and all that. Absolutely.
But what I will say though is, those of you who are fans of Jonathan Majors and have been following the legal stuff that he's going through, you have a reason to be happy and excited for Jonathan Majors. I think he's gonna remain, and Marvel's kind of been playing their cards keeping it close to their chest, which they should. They got to keep all options open. But based on recent developments, it's looking very good for him. And that's great because he is the guy for this multiverse saga, right? Like it all revolves around the Kang character and the Council of Kangs, and where season one left off with that huge cliffhanger where we thought everything was okay, and then Loki looks and he sees the statue of Kang and realizes things are going exactly as he who remained promised. So I am looking forward to seeing what happens, and hopefully we get more answers as this universe continues through its saga.
Yeah, no, for sure. This show itself like brings up a lot of questions, like because it was kind of, I mean, it literally was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the introduction. I mean, it was He Who Remains, right? But it was Jonathan Majors playing the character who's essentially a variant of Kang. So this was the introduction to his character. We got a lot of him in Quantumania, and like, but the thing is, they're different versions. So like, just because we got, we saw him twice doesn't mean those things built upon each other necessarily. I mean, the overall Kang story going on, it built upon, but it's not like we saw the same exact character in consecutive appearances. So it does ask more questions than it answers, kind of. This trailer does. Like, it doesn't give us any solutions from season one, just opens a lot more possibilities for season two. But I will say that regardless of all of the complexities of the multiverse and the Kang storyline and all that, I love the Loki character so much, and I love Tom Hiddleston in the role, and I've been a huge fan of him ever since the first Thor movie, right? And while I would have been okay, like, if the character stayed dead after Infinity War, because I thought it was like an amazing, impactful death, I would have been okay with that. And he had a long run, great character. They probably should have kept him dead after that, but they bring him back, find a way, and I just want to go back and hang out with this character again, hang out with him and Mobius. Like, I thought for sure we were going to see Mobius on a jet ski at the end of season one, but hey, maybe we'll see that in season two. It's something that, like, I think we got this. I'm more curious to see, like, there's this secret about the TVA. Like, where do they get their agents from? Like, they basically, I mean, it sounds like they forced them to do it. They wiped their minds and things like that. And so I'm curious to see about the inner workings of the TVA, and especially how it's going to play into future MCU projects, possibly Deadpool 3. Like, just because, like, we might learn stuff about the TVA that can give us hints towards things that could happen in the MCU going forward. And obviously we're going to learn more about Kang in this show, whether people like it or not. And I'm wondering, is Kang not that involved, or are they shying away from including him in the trailer because of the controversies? Like, it's very interesting to see, but overall, I thought it was a fun, cool looking trailer, but like, I'm already going to watch the show, but did it elevate my excitement? Not necessarily, no.
Now, how much of that has to do with your feelings about either Secret Invasion or the MCU overall, the current state? I'm curious, because I think you and I are kind of on the same page. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing Loki. I'm not going to not watch it. But again, like, for me, excitement, like, I don't think I can use that word for the time being. Like, don't get me wrong, Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and everything I've been hearing about, that project.
Most anticipated movie of all time.
I'm excited about that. But Loki season 2 and what it's supposed to do, like, I'm curious. Like, did your feelings on Secret Invasion, I mean, maybe you want to say that for when we get to Secret Invasion, or like, I actually don't even know how you feel about it. So
yeah, no, honestly, Secret Invasion has no impact on my excitement for this show. Like, because I've seen an MCU show be amazing, and the next one I didn't really like, and then the next one's, oh my god, I loved that one, and the next one I didn't like. So I don't think that like they have different people, even though Kevin Feige like oversees it all. He doesn't oversee it all like he used to oversee phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, where he was hands-on, directly making every single decision on all the projects. And like there's a lot going on in this. Even him himself has said that he's not as hands-on every project as he used to be. So it's like you have a lot of different people working on these shows. And so like just because, I mean, I'm not saying how I feel about Secret Invasion yet, but I'm saying like I actually like Secret Invasion, and we'll get into it pretty soon here. But as far as like, oh, if I was disappointed in Secret Invasion, does that mean I'm going to be disappointed in this show? No. The thing that makes me worried about this show is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Because that is the most previous thing we've seen Kang in. And I liked Kang in that movie, but it's like it did not increase. Like I was very disappointed with that movie. I love the Ant-Man character in the Ant-Man franchise, but that movie like really was very disappointing to me. And so like, and that was supposed to be a huge heavy hitter in this Kang storyline, right? And so is Loki season 2. And now it's like, I don't really like where the Kang storyline is going. And I haven't really said this yet, but the more and more I saw it and the more and more that I thought about it, the post-credit scene with all the Kangs didn't really work for me. It was kind of silly to me. It felt more jokey than intimidating. Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror in the movie was really good. The character was good. Like that single character, the Conqueror in the quantum realm. But where they're going with this Kang Dynasty saga, worried about that after Quantumania, and also worried about it in Loki season 2. Brian, I want to ask you, like, has your, like, as far as the Kang Dynasty goes and all that, like, are you, regardless of Jonathan Majors, just the character of Kang in the MCU, like, are you excited about it more, or are you a little worried?
I mean, it's hard to get excited about it knowing that it's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, his personal life is bleeding into this a little bit. So it's kind of hard to like not think about that. If I didn't have that at all, because like I'm sitting here, I don't want to get attached to this guy playing this character and then switch for someone else. Like, so I think so that's kind of a little bit what I'm having trouble with. I mean, I loved everything about him when so far that we've met him. So I just don't, my problem is I just don't want to get attached to this character and how he plays him. Because I'm sure if someone else came in and played him, he's going to be a little bit different in some capacity. Like, not every actor plays roles the same way. And I'm sure that a new person would change theirs up a little bit. So am I excited for Kang as just it being Kang? Absolutely. He's a huge deal. So I'm just curious to what extent we are going to see him and what things are going to come from it. Because I don't know. I'm curious to see how it plays out as far as him in this show, and if this is like going to start to be the real push towards his character being in stuff. Because it doesn't look like he's going to be in the Marvels. I'm trying to think what comes after. Oh, Echo comes after that, so that he ain't going to be an Echo. Yeah. So I'm just a little bit curious, like, what he's going to be doing moving forward from this. I almost kind of wish they just. I kind of don't like that we're playing like involves Kang, doesn't involve Kang, involves Kang, doesn't involve Kang. Like I would almost rather them just go, okay, these are all the stories we have that aren't Kang related, and then start dropping Kang heavily. Because it's like, I mean, we put this Thanos level threat in front of our faces, but at the same time, we're like kind of not using him. So I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, are we going to start getting into his character, or are we not going to start getting into his character? Like, set up the stuff you need to set up before you get to Kang, and then just go full blown. Whereas it's like, it's almost feels like we get Kang, and then we get like anywhere from 2 to 4 projects in between where we get no mention of him, and then you get Kang again, and then it's another couple of things before. So, and to what Andy said, because it's a fair point, where he said we saw Thanos in like 2 movies before Infinity War. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, but they've made it so clear that there are thousands of him around, and the multiverse is collapsing. Like, his presence should be felt in almost everything if they're making it multiversal, where it's like it should be almost annoying the amount of times he shows up, in my opinion. Just where if we're
especially
going,
if there's so many of them, like,
yeah,
why
we're
aren't they
going
all around the
multiversal.
MCU, like taking out fools or something, you know?
Yeah. So, and I get it. We're still in phase 4. So
5.
Are we in 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle stage. And
See what I mean?
yeah.
Hey, I'm still excited about the MCU. Give me the X-Men, baby, and the Fantastic
me too.
Four.
Buddy,
I can't
buddy,
wait for
that is way down the line.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
know, but
You're not going to
actually,
get
I mean,
true
the thing is,
X-Men
Deadpool
stuff
3 was
until-
supposed to come out this year. I'm not saying an X-Men movie. I'm saying X-Men characters, like, period.
yeah. But even that is because of the strike. Like, there's a reason why
Yeah,
movies
I know.
are moving out, right? Like, it's Beyond the Spider-Verse, probably 2025. Craven got pushed a full year. Like, are any of you worried about the Marvels? Because what does Marvel?
You
what does
mean
Marvel
being
have?
getting pushed?
Yeah, because what does Marvel have right now that is ready to be released?
The
next
rest
year?
of the year consists of Loki, the Marvels, and Echo.
Right.
And Echo,
And
they've
so-
already said they're dropping all at one time.
And so when we go to
Mhm.
next year, you got Brave New World, which did wrap its production. Now they can't do reshoots right now. Thunderbolts, which did they
They
finish?
didn't
Brian?
finish.
They
They
didn't
didn't finish
and then
it.
Blade is Mahershala?
Blade is not even anywhere near, I think.
They haven't even started Blade, right? It
Yeah.
got, like,
So
pushed
there's
too
a
many times.
there's a real possibility the Marvels moves just because Marvel or Disney, Bob Iger, there's like, we need something to put for next year if this goes on.
I tend to think that they're not going to push it, in the sense of, like, I could see Bob Iger being like, I mean, clearly they're not thinking about the writers that much, where they're just like, just drop it. We're going to make money from it either way.
Are they? I mean, would Marvel fans be upset if it, like, how upset would they be if it did Quantumania numbers where it made money but it underperformed? Like, you feel bad for the cast and crew, right? Even though they got paid, but still, it's like a box
I don't know.
office
I think
hit.
it's a vicious game right now with the strike. It could lead to things. I mean, things are already getting pushed, clearly. Dune's already been pushed.
So, like, Guardians 3 made 844 million. Like, do you guys just think that one's an exception? Like, it was going to be successful no matter what?
I think that was going to be successful.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty successful. I mean, the first Captain Marvel did $1 billion.
I know, that's the thing. So if we're building off successes, why wouldn't that one succeed?
But see,
because that's a whole different time.
Yeah,
that was pre-pandemic and
pre-pandemic.
We saw movies. I mean, just look at this summer. This summer has been just, other than Barbenheimer, what else?
Oh, so why did Guardians 3 succeed in this time?
Because it's James Gunn making, and he's got a good track record.
Yeah, and people love Guardians.
And that franchise, too, has come a long way. And
yeah, I mean, it's a coin toss. I think.
No, I agree.
Iger's probably going to do what he wants to do. So
yeah. So for Loki season 2 trailer, I like this comment that John Booth said. They said it feels like we are still explaining the multiverse instead of dealing with it, and I don't think Loki season 2 is going to be allowed to push much forward. So I like that comment, because how many projects have we've seen like setting up the multiverse, explaining what it is, and it's like, okay, let's finally do something about it, and it just feels like Loki season 2 is going to be another explaining it type of thing. I think as audience members who are still invested, we have enough info. Like, let's go. Like, let's actually take actionable steps on it. I'm talking about the characters in the MCU, right? Like, let's try to do something about it. But that's going to do it for our Loki season 2 talk. I think we're all still like relatively looking forward to it as much as we were before, but this trailer didn't necessarily get us super hyped up. They're doing some cool things in there. I just hope, like, a lot of these projects, even Thor Ragnarok, a movie that I love, they depowered Loki. Loki is so powerful, and I know the TVA can like restrict him a lot, but like, do not like put handcuffs on Loki, and I mean that in a way like limit his powers just for story convenience. Please don't do that.
Well, it
but
seems
other
like
than that,
he's using his magic more than
I know. That's the one thing I got excited about, is at the end, like, you are the God of Mischief, right? And he says always and forever or something like that. I'm like, that's what we need to see, because Loki can be one of the most powerful beings in the MCU if like they actually utilize him how he's supposed to be used, in my opinion. But that's going to do it for our Loki season 2 trailer talk. Let us know what you guys thought about the trailer in the comments. So let's move on to another MCU topic, and that is, and we're going to spend about 30 minutes on this. So that is Secret Invasion. The show wrapped up on Disney Plus, I believe last week was the finale. A week from, it was last Wednesday, right? This past Wednesday was the finale. Yep. Nick Fury led show taking place in the MCU, adapted from the comic book storyline. I'm sure they took a lot of liberties with that storyline. I never read it. I'm sure Brian is familiar with it, at least if you haven't read it. But Secret Invasion, we've all watched it. And again, we're talking spoilers here. So if you haven't watched the show and you care about spoilers, you might not want to watch this episode. But if you don't care, then go ahead and stick around. Let's get some general thoughts first, and then we'll just get in depth on some of these things, because I think there's a lot of cool stuff that happened and then a lot of questionable things that happened. But Gio, I'll go to you first, man. Maybe you hinted earlier your thoughts, but what is your overall impression of Secret Invasion season 1?
It got off to a strong start and then kind of slowly declined, and then it stood idle, and then it declined, and then that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know, like you said, Jacob. I didn't read the Secret Invasion storyline. I know enough about it, but it was also, my preconceived notion comes from hearing Marvel fans and comic book readers talk so much about it. Oh my God, Secret Invasion, they're going to do it. This is going to change the MCU. And we could get into
it. Had a lot of hype.
I was messaging Brian the other night about like how it could definitely change the MCU and set up a very exciting storyline later on that we're all looking forward to. But where this show is at its best is the dialogue between actors and them just performance, like back and forth. At times it feels like you're watching something that's directed by Tarantino, not so much the action and gore of it or the music, but just the dialogue. I think about Tarantino, I think about Sorkin, and I'm not saying the writing's on that level. I mean, I would have to go back and re-examine it, but like, the conversation between, Maria Hill early and Fury, and then uh Rhodey and Fury, and just, those scenes right there, even though like not much was happening or things weren't progressing to the at the rate or at the scale we wanted to, it was those interactions that for me kind of saved this series right there. Everyone gave it their all. No one more than Samuel L. Jackson as Fury. Um, but I mean, that's about all I can really say about it as far as giving my impressions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, like, I liked it. I didn't love it. There's a few questionable things that happened. Like, I mean, I'm okay with character deaths, but there's a few character deaths that I'm not happy about. Maybe that's just personal preference because I like those actors and those characters. But hey, it's the multiverse, so we can see them again. But yeah, I liked it, didn't love it, but there are some elements of this show that I really, really loved. And Gio, a lot of them were those quiet conversations in a hallway, in a home, and behind the closed doors. Like, a lot of those conversations really kept the show moving for me and kept it strong. So I enjoyed it for what it was, but like, I wasn't dying to see the next episode every week. But I thought it was solid. Brian, what about you, man? What are your overall thoughts on it?
For me, episode 1 through 4, loved. Thought they were great. 1 and 2 specifically, the longer episodes, fantastic. Loved them. I thought, holy crap, this has potential to be the best MCU show. 3 and 4, I thought were right underneath 1 and 2. 5 is where the cracks started to form. And 6, we fell face first through the cracks, in my opinion. For me being a comic book reader, I knew I wasn't going to get the Secret Invasion comic, and I was fine with that. I didn't care. It would have been, if they wanted to do that story, that would have needed to be an Avengers movie.
Like an Infinity War and Endgame, like
Yes.
part 1 and part 2.
Yeah. If they wanted to truly do that story, like as close to chest as they could, it would have had to have been at least an Avengers movie. Like, there's no way you can do that story without it just, I mean, to me, the level of importance of that would be its own like phase or saga. Like, it would have to be that big, which I think it actually could have had the potential. Like, it would have been kind of dope to just like this whole, like, do a whole phase through Secret Invasion. So I knew this show was not going to be, I mean, I pretty much assumed that the only similarity was going to be Skrulls want to take over Earth. Like, that's pretty much the only thing they could really truly use and or follow.
It's just the concept. That's it, basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like Civil War, except you don't know who of these characters are Skrulls. So it was never going to be like that. But I freaking was so hooked. Episode 1 and 2. Oh my God. Like, the cliffhangers they were leaving you on, the stress it was putting you under, the things were just going and going and going. But man, did 5 and 6 just trip and eat face, in my opinion.
Yeah, like 4 going into 5 and 5 going into 6. I was like, what? Like, that's it? Like, okay, I guess I'll wait a week. And then it was like, oh.
It just felt like, it's like, all right, we put our time and sweat into episode 1 and 2. 3 and 4, we got a little bit rushed. And 5 and 6 just seemed like, okay, we got to get as much as we can done as soon as possible. Like, I was just like, when it was done, I was like, that's really how they're choosing to end this. Like, it was mind blowing.
It's almost like they ran out of money and it's bizarre to think about when it has a $210 million budget for this.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
It's insane. Like, I mean, Secret Invasion, the name alone would put eyes in for this. Like, it is probably up there, top 10, definitely top 10, maybe even top 5 comic book events for Marvel. So like, the name alone is a big deal. So for them to fumble it so hard in the end is mind-blowing. We now have a character that has every single power in the world.
There we go. I was going to bring that up. Like, okay, so like I said, I'm not familiar with Secret Invasion. I'm not familiar with the Skrulls in the comics. But like, what about the Super Skrull? Like, doesn't he take like the Fantastic Four's power at one point, and he has all 4 of their powers?
All the Super Skrull is a Skrull with the Fantastic Four's powers. So essentially, what Gravik was before the serum.
Wow. They said at the Battle of Earth, which it's called now, right? And that's the Endgame battle, the Battle of Earth. So every character there spilled blood. So they got DNA from every character, and
some characters who weren't even there.
Yeah,
don't even get me started on that.
So I want to ask about that, Brian, but real quick. But I was thinking, like, so I'm watching this, right? And she does the Hulk arm. She does all the stuff. Mantis powers, like, okay.
Drax.
So you have characters in the MCU who are overpowered, right? Wanda, if she's still around.
She doesn't have Wanda's powers.
Okay, that's fair. Does she have Captain Marvel's powers?
Yes.
Okay. So Captain Marvel herself is overpowered. But the thing is, let's say like Gaia, right? She has Captain Marvel's powers. Is when she uses Captain Marvel's powers, is she as powerful as Captain Marvel? When she uses Hulk's powers, is she as powerful as the Hulk? Like, because if that's the case, if she has the full capacity of all those characters' powers that she got, who's gonna stop her? Like, you just introduce a character that's unbeatable.
She even has Thanos' blood.
You introduce a character who's unbeatable.
Yeah, I imagine her powers are like how Thanos uses the Infinity Stones. Like, she can activate anyone at any time.
But like, she can't use all of them at once or something. But who knows?
I think Thanos is just going to be super. It would be like super tough skin and super.
Oh yeah, like,
because you can't give her the power.
It would be that big ass blade that is nearly indestructible.
You can't give her the Infinity Gauntlet powers because those
no. Yeah,
those are acquired things.
But like, just Thanos' DNA, she could like turn into his whatever his species was.
Yeah, she can grow with balls on her chin.
Isn't he like deformed in his species or something?
Yeah, he's a deviant essentially.
Yeah. So like, that was crazy. Like, look, don't get me wrong. It's cool seeing Emilia Clarke fly around and use the powers. Like, it looks cool, but like, I'm curious. Like, you know what it did to me? It rubbed me the wrong way because it took away the specialness of each individual character who can do those things. Like Mantis, I love Mantis's power abilities, but it's like, okay, now this character can do that and all this other stuff, it took away the specialness of each of those characters that she's using their powers. And
I would have been absolutely fine if they would have stopped at the 4. So Groot, Extremist,
Frostbeast.
yeah, and I think it's Cole Obsidians. Either way, you're a typical the Fantastic Four powers. I think it would have been fantastic. No, literally, I would have think it would have been great. I would have been absolutely fine with her having those 4, because that is essentially a super scroll. That is the super scroll. Jacob, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. 4 powers is more than enough. Like,
yeah,
that's insane.
And that is the super scroll. He's literally, each arm and leg is a different Fantastic Four power, which they literally use the exact same, different characters, but those are the same 4 that they has.
Yeah.
The Groot stretch was Mr. Fantastic, like it's so on and so forth.
Yeah. So Brian, let me ask, because I was some of the powers that she used, I was like, who's that? Like I was trying to keep track. Like, did they use powers of characters who weren't there?
Yeah, Ghost.
Interesting. She wasn't there. Like, unless she was, and they never showed her. But now are they going to start saying that there were characters at the endgame battle that we didn't show them on screen. So all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, Daredevil was there, but we just didn't show him on screen.
Well, I mean, they did get away with it with the Avengers Endgame when they showed the Ancient One fighting on the rooftop of the Battle of New York. So
that's a great point.
Yeah, but what the hell? What is
Ghost? But I get what you mean. Like I said, they got away with it once, but
because I was one of those people at first that went, why the hell does she have Ant-Man's powers at first? Because it was like it looked like she shrunk down and came back, because Ant-Man doesn't have powers; it's his suit. And then it was like,
duh, she wouldn't get his powers. It's
exactly
that's like having Iron Man powers. Like what?
Yes, exactly. So then I was like, oh, it's Ghost's powers, but then I was like, why is Ghost there? And I mean, they could have easily fixed this by saying, like, he's been collecting samples the whole entire time. But no, he basically flat out said, like, at the Battle of Earth, I took the samples after the battle. So it's like,
yeah,
okay.
So Marvel's going to have to find a way, which they've done in the past, to like either retcon it or make it fit. Like we all remember the whole Mandarin thing, and then the 10 rings, and it's like, no, here's the real Mandarin, like, years later. And I could see them doing the same thing.
So they kind of retcon stuff in a way.
Yeah, I could see them doing the same thing with how a lot of Phase 4 was seeing the Battle of New York through different people's perspectives. Like now they're going to do the same thing for the Battle of Earth. Like next time we see Ghost and Thunderbolts, is she still in Thunderbolts actually?
Who?
I'm not sure.
Ghost? Yeah.
Ghost, yeah, she is. Okay.
I was thinking that we'll see a flashback of her at the Endgame battle or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like there's several things they can do about it. But I mean, regardless, a lot of criticism.
To be fair, you could be like, her name is Ghost. Why would you see her? Like this, they'll do something like that. Like, because she can, phase through stuff and be invisible. I forget her exact powers, but yeah.
Visually speaking, it was a very messy ending. So
yeah, it was very sloppy. I heard one thing that has stuck with me, and I am starting to really wish happened. So someone suggested that Marvel should have not used Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character and put instead Olivia Colman's character in charge of the Thunderbolts.
I'm telling you, her, yeah.
If she
I was gonna say we've been kind of negative. Let's talk about some positives before we wrap out the show. She was incredible.
Olivia Colman's character was my favorite part of the whole entire show. She was deviously evil, but awesome at the same time. She had ice running through her veins. Yes. And I know, like, obviously there are things that it wouldn't work in the sense of, like, she is British and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is in the CIA and so on and so forth. But I just can't stop thinking about how great her character would be in charge of a group of people like the Thunderbolts. It's just
that's a great idea.
And I'm not saying it because of Julia Louis-Dreyfus as playing the character.
No, it's different.
I'm saying just in general how Olivia Colman played that character. She would be a fantastic leader of this misfit mishmash group that's the Thunderbolts. And God, I almost wish someone would have never said that and it never came across my screen, because I'm going to only think about that from now on. Yeah. And it sucks because in my headcanon, she's pretty much done. Like, I saw that Gaia getting the powers was Kevin Feige's idea. So once I saw that, I was like, okay, well, he has to have some reason for that.
He has a plan.
Yeah, because if that's the case, you're first off, you're not going to sideline Emilia Clarke for 6 episodes and then that's it. Olivia Colman, I would hope you wouldn't, but it's more understandable than Emilia Clarke. But I just don't, at this moment, I don't see how you use those two, because to me, they're tied to each other for at least for right now. Because she basically at the end was saying, I have uses for you. You have uses for me. We are going to work together.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we see one, we'll see the other, at least the next time we see them. And it's interesting. Look, they gave Gaia those powers. She's here. So the thing is, there's a lot of big threats coming in the MCU, right? That like some characters have no business being a part of. Like, there's only so much Spider-Man can do against certain adversaries, right? So like, you need some powerful hitters on the hero side, because we're gonna get some pretty unbeatable villains that exist now that are coming up. So it's okay. But the thing to me, it's like, let's say there's a battle in, what are we getting? We're getting Kang Dynasty, and then what's the other Avengers movie?
Secret
Wars, right? So let's say there's a battle, right? And like, let's just say Hulk's there, right? And Hulk's doing his thing, and then you have Gaia as Hulk doing her thing, or then you have Mantis there fighting, and Gaia's also using the Mantis powers. To me, it belittles the original character who has the powers in a way. It's like you have someone who can do it all. So to me, that's the only thing that bothers me about it. But like, I am a fan of Emilia Clarke. I'm looking forward to see what she can do in the MCU going forward. What did you guys think about Don Cheadle playing Rhodey but not Rhodey? Like, how did that work for you guys?
Called it. I said that I called the two people. I said Rhodey and Agent House, and I nailed it from the start.
Definitely.
I think I'm pretty convinced that, from what it looks like, he's been this way since Civil War, which is gonna piss a lot of people off. However, there is a way that they can salvage this from post Endgame. it would be pretty freaking wild if he has been this way since Civil War. Like
that would be crazy.
That is a long time. A long freaking time. That's I don't know.
I think it happened sometime after Endgame because
I do too.
It wasn't the same. Rhodey's cheerful, like making jokes, smiling. He was not like that at all in this show. So I think it happened after Endgame, honestly. I do.
I wish I would have written down what I read someone's thing that did like a pros and cons of Endgame post Endgame versus Civil War.
Yeah.
And the Endgame when it made sense. But it just, my whole thing, like every time I think about everything post Civil War, I go back to he was in the CAT scan suit, in the MRI suit.
Yeah.
So, to me,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And he was not walking.
So when he got knocked out of the air and landed on the ground, he would have turned back to a scroll. Like they can't maintain the being transformed while they're injured and stuff. Like it's like, that's like lifting up a weight, right? If someone punches you, stabs you in the side, you're gonna drop the weight. Like they can't maintain their camouflage when they're injured or something. Like maybe they can, I don't know, but that's what it kind of seemed like in this. But no, I mean, I kind of want to go around and get like our final thoughts, some important things we want to bring up and like get your overall thoughts on the show now that we kind of talked about it. But for me, the only thing is like, I'm okay with character deaths. Like we need character deaths in order for stakes, but they killed 2 characters in this show that I really didn't want to see die. And one is Maria Hill, because Maria Hill, I'm a fan of Kobe Smulders, and I thought she was going to have such a bigger role in the MCU. I was okay with her having small roles because I thought, okay, one day she's going to have a bigger role. Like, I know S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't really exist anymore or whatever, but like somewhere to the level of being director of S.H.I.E.L.D., like she becomes in the comics and the cartoons and stuff. That disappointed me. Also, obviously, Ben Mendelsohn, like Talos. People, I don't know if like Kevin Feige understands how much people love that character. And maybe it's Ben Mendelsohn thing. Maybe he said, look, I'll sign on for Secret Invasion, but I don't want to be in the MCU for the next 10 years. Like, just let's make it a swan song for Talos. So those 2 deaths were disappointing to me. But overall, like, I thought the series was all right. Definitely had some highlights. It was kind of a Nick Fury-centric show, which I enjoy Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, so that was cool. But nothing like it might be a forgettable series for me, to be honest.
So to people that are, Gordon asked, I hope they flash back to
they have to.
Switching in Armor Wars. Armor Wars is going to answer Rhodey's story. Obviously, it's going to be his. It's literally going to be.
I think they'll piece by piece, depending on the project, slowly reveal these things.
So I think that's why I'm kind of not jumping so quickly on things with him, because I feel like there's still kind of a little bit of room to play. Honestly, the only thing that really bothered me was the way they ended with Gaia's just getting all of the powers, and just like, it's just like, what?
It was like, it was too of an important thing to happen too fast at the end of a show just to end. Yeah.
I truly wish, I think that there's so many different ways they could have gone about this too. I think you could have had Gravik be the Super Skrull. He could have even escaped and been an antagonist some other way at some point. I think Emilia Clarke should have. I think what would have been interesting would have been you kill Gaia, but her human character gets found in that basement, and that human character be someone important, a la the Abigail Brand that everyone thought she was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give that character importance instead of throwing her just, here's everyone's superpowers.
That would have been a cool way to keep her around.
Yeah. So you just take out, I mean, unfortunately, you just take out Talos' whole family, him, the wife, and Gaia, and then you go after these other things. I don't know. Again, I'm hoping there's a reason for these things. Unfortunately, I have gotten to the place where I'm a little bit questioning Feige a little bit, because again, like you said, he's not in charge of everything, and the castle isn't as perfect as it used to be. Some walls are chipping a little bit, so
but the thing is, it's like we saw what happened when he's able to be hands on everything, and it's like a masterpiece of a universe. But the thing is, when you try to take on too much and you add all these different elements, that's impossible for one person to like have strict control over, then you start to see the cracks. And it's unfortunate.
And it's funny because
I don't think anyone can maintain that level of, quality.
It's funny because Bob Iger did come out and say that Disney Plus's Marvel shows kind of like not ruined the MCU, but like kind of, he didn't like how much
watered it down a little bit.
Yeah, how much was coming out and how fast and everything. So you could see it. You could see it.
That's kind of what I've been saying
about the MCU. Like I think there's going to be fresh blood in the MCU coming. That's going to revitalize it. Yeah.
I will say this. This makes me nervous for Daredevil being 18 episodes.
I hope that shows the exception. I hope that shows the exception.
It scares me because I'm like, those episodes can't be more than a half hour. There's no way that they have 45-minute episodes, 18 of them. There's no way. So to me,
they're going to be like 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Like 22 minutes. Like,
I don't know. But
yeah.
The last thing I want to, before we finish, John Booth, thank you for reminding me by bringing that up. But at the end of this, I think, oh no, did you delete it? Where'd it go? Where did it go? Oh, anyways, I think it.
Which one? Which one are you looking for?
The one about the president.
Oh, what do you think about the president's?
Oh, there it is. Yes.
Yeah.
It
was intense.
Honestly, by the end of it, it felt like that was the thing that was set up the most. Like that, the whole show was to just literally do that. That honestly felt like what, by the end of it, the whole entire show was literally meant for that exact spot of now people fearing anyone being a Skrull. Because, I mean, we saw at the end, people were just gunning people down that they thought were Skrulls, and sometimes they were, and sometimes they were just people that just got murdered. Like that woman at the very end.
That was rough. Like, people getting killed that aren't Skrulls.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think rough. That, honestly, by the end of it, like I was like, okay, so that's really the purpose of what almost this whole entire thing, because the Skrulls are just kind of all over the place. We didn't get them all together. We didn't go back to the camp. We didn't. Gravik's dead. So it's like, what is the only thing
Oh, just to introduce a super powerful character.
Yeah, and plus, like Andy said, in a way, we already know Harrison Ford's going to be president soon. So I was shocked that the guy made it out of this movie.
Yeah, I was thinking that
alive.
character would die for sure because so they can set up the new president, but we'll see.
Yeah. So,
Gio, let me ask you, man, anything important we missed that you want to talk about, or any closing thoughts on the show?
No, I mean, you guys pretty much touched on it. Yeah, just forgettable, and it does set up Rhodey for Armor Wars, and I mean, yeah, that's about it. I like 10 minutes ago. I had a lot more to say, but now I'm just like, ugh, this universe is in trouble.
Yeah. I think we hit most of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But all right, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Then that's going to do it for this episode of Apocaflix Now, for our Loki season 2 trailer discussion and our Secret Invasion spoiler discussion. Thank you, everybody in the chat watching, and thank you for all the viewers. Even if you didn't comment, we really appreciate you. We could not do this without you guys, and thank you so much again. I am Jacob. That is Gio. That is Brian. You can find all of our information down in the description below, and don't forget to come back to Apocaflix every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for Apocaflix Now. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.